Good morning, Ms. Miller. Thanks for coming in today and going through this process of interviewing. Again, we're here to ask you a couple questions. Again, we have a protocol that we have a few interview questions for you to answer and for us to get to know you a little bit better. Okay. Again, tell me about yourself and your educational philosophy.
Well, kind of old school because I've been around a while, but I strongly believe that as far as education goes, we need to build a strong base in the curriculum. That's what I usually do. I strongly believe in classroom management and participation because what's the point if they're not attentive or they're not following or they're asleep? So right off the bat, I lay some ground rules and I try to reinforce those so that they know their expectations. So we teach 9 through 12, but I think they appreciate their perimeters and the structure of the classroom because then they know what to expect. So I'm really for consistency. And then being a foreign language teacher, they need to have a really strong base. Now I can teach all levels, but if they don't have a strong base in the curriculum in the first and second years, they just feel a little lost, I think. So not only do we work our way through the curriculum, and of course, as you know, we don't always use the textbooks, we try to use authentic materials, but more than anything else, I'm trying to work with them on strategies on how to, from level 1 to level 4 or IB or AP, strategies on how to not only understand French, in this case, spoken, written, and to be able to express themselves, but also how their thinking process. So there's a lot of engagement involved because it's not just about learning words and reproducing them, but the critical thinking of why would people say this in this situation. And because of that, I feel like I have an obligation to include a lot of culture because it's an opportunity to not only see how, French is the third most spoken language in the world, but also the way people live in these French-speaking countries. And when that happens, they reflect on their own culture. Just like when they're learning a language, you know that they, I don't teach a lot of grammar, but there is grammar involved. Then it seems like it helps them with their own language, English, because I try to make the parallel there. And I do that with all subjects, like I integrate history, I integrate art, we do a section on art. So I can almost touch every, even math sometimes. I was thinking we were doing the numbers in level 1, and a lot of them, they need help with math. Yeah, and so as a foreign language teacher, we try to integrate that. But what I try to do is set the perimeters in classroom management so they know what is expected of them. And then into that, I can pour the curriculum, but more importantly, to enhance and to teach them strategies so that whatever level they may be, or hopefully they go to a foreign country, they can use these to communicate. It's all about communicating. And then as far as the speaking is involved, I try to make that a little more fun. I'm not really critical of their accents. I want them to just feel comfortable expressing themselves.
Okay, good. So with this being a French class, and along with our large refugee population here at the school, what is your knowledge of and experience with standards-based education?
Okay, well, we have a lot of refugees, and fortunately, a lot of them come from African, French-speaking countries. I guess we have such a variety of standard-based education. They come from such backgrounds that at any given moment, you're not really sure what their background was in any of this. And it tends to be, being refugee population, it tends that there are large gaps in their education. I mean, insofar that many of them cannot read properly or write properly. So my philosophy is, okay, don't complain about it. It is what it is. And wherever I come across a gap, I just kind of fill that in. Here's an example. You know, they write paragraphs. Many of them, just a simple thing like putting a capital letter or a period after the sentence, they've never been taught that.
Yes.
It's not that they don't learn it, they've never been taught. So we'll just kind of gently, you know, reinforce that along the way. And I do a lot of small groups, and I even pair some of these kids that are lacking in this up with some of the more stronger students so that they can, number one, set an example, and number two, mentor them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. That's good. Okay. So, with the mentoring, you know, you see these kids come in, you see them struggling in certain parts. How do you identify the special needs of your students, and how do you address them?
Probably the best way to identify the need is how they act in the classroom. If they're bored, or they're not attentive, or they're acting up, they're, I guess you could say, rebellious, that I don't care attitude. A lot of it is because they feel inadequate, or they are lacking in the basic skills. And then, of course, we do formative assessments once a week, and it's quite evident right off the bat. And then circulating in the classroom, looking at their work, doing, you know, just checks, oral checks. You can pretty much get it right there. Now, of course, we have our standardized tests, you know, our 6 weeks assessments, our ACPs, but I don't like to wait that long because it's too late. So once I do that, I can put them in a group, and I try to pair them up or put them in a small group where they don't feel so intimidated by someone on a higher level. So if it's extreme, I'll bring a small group to my desk, and I will gently walk them through it with one of the higher students so that I can model how I want them to mentor. Okay?
All right. That's cool. So with having the students being mentored, and you know, the rebellious kids or the non-attentive, how do you motivate those unmotivated students that tend to act out or not want to do it?
Well, I think teenagers, it's very important that I'm consistent and fair. So my rules are for everyone. And I make sure that they're simple. I have 5 simple rules, and I make sure that they understand them. I try not to embarrass them, but I just simply draw them back. Like, for example, one of my rules is to be attentive. That means you can't put your head down on your desk. You can't talk while I'm teaching or someone else is talking. And you need to come prepared. So if they don't do that, I don't embarrass them. I stop the class and go over the rules gently again. Okay, if it continues to be a problem, I will send them to the counselor. And of course, I can just give a call to the parents. A lot of times, this makes all, in fact, most of the time, this makes all the difference in the world. I will have them come in and talk to me. You know, I'm open for tutoring every day. I do a thing called Tea with the Teacher on our short days on Friday. And if I see any improvement at all in this student, I will single him out to be rewarded that day. He gets to come and have tea and cookies with me. and I acknowledge him in the class that this student, it's not about who makes the best grade, who's trying the hardest. So I really am an enforcer of positive behavior. If I just see that they're being more attentive, if they've showed up for 5 days with a pencil, you know, I'm gonna reward that because they didn't do that in the last 2 weeks. So I will get everybody clap for them. They like to come to the board. I'll choose that student. I'm thinking of my one class right now. I have 5 of them in the front, and they spent the first 3 weeks in the back doing nothing. And now they're more motivated. They're sitting on the front. They're asking, you know, if they can go up to the front and hold the stick and point. And of course I know this is stupid, but I have a jar of candy, and a penny candy goes a long way.
I mean, and they like that candy.
They like it.
They enjoy it. They just want to see that reward.
It's a reward.
It's a reward. And they know that they're doing good, or they know that, you know, it's what they're doing is what you want to see. So, from what you see to the students, you know, we will have our observations. I will come in and walk around and make sure, you know, you have your non-negotiables up and things of that sort, and that the kids are engaged. But what are 3 qualities that you embody that you would want an administrator to recognize as a potential staff member? Again, this is nothing in the classroom. This is going to be something that we see as a whole, as a campus.
I think the most important thing as a teacher is that you are excited about what you do, because enthusiasm, the kids feel it. I try to be positive and enthusiastic, and to really love what I'm teaching. I love it. They know I love it, and to be excited about it, because students at this age, they can feel if you're bored, if you're just doing it because it's a job, or if you like it. And if a student is excited about what they're doing, they're motivated. They're going to do it. So it's the number one quality of a teacher is to motivate the student to be excited. There's got to be an emotional factor involved, because their attention span, you know, they get bored, they're just not going to try. So why not make it an enjoyable experience? So a motivator, I think, is a number one quality. Number 2, I really think that knowing your students is vital. You need to know not only their test scores, but you need to know them as people, their families, where they live, what they're going through, what they've struggled with, what they like, what they don't like. If you don't do that, you can make so many false judgments. So it's not just what you read on My Data Portal, it's other things too. Who their friends are, things like that. And then number 3, I think it is very, very important as a teacher to be consistent with your classroom management. Consistency. Do what you say and say what you do. That, to me, it just brings security to the students. They know what to expect. Every time they know what to expect.
It's not going to change from one day to the other. So
it has nothing to do with your mood or how you feel.
It's just doing the same thing every day.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What is one of your weaknesses? What have you done to fix it?
I guess one of my weaknesses is, you know, it's the paperwork and the grading and all of that. I mean, a teacher can always be more prepared, right? But I have to balance that with my family, my 3-hour drive there to and from work, my age. I'm not 20.
And we keep on going.
Yeah. So I guess what I have done to do is I make a point by Monday to get everything's cut up, everything's ready, because the week goes so fast.
Yes. Okay.
So I've devoted all of Sunday afternoon to catch up anything, to prepare anything, and I hate to do that, but my family knows it, and I kind of make up for it on the weekends, but that's really all I can do. I said, that's set aside for school, so the week is ready,
Okay.
you know.
So the kids are prepared, kids
Yeah.
know what they're coming into.
And I don't have this anxiety or rush. You know, I'm ready. I'm ready for the week.
Okay. So again, this is a French position that we're looking to fill. Why should you be hired for this position?
Well, the number one reason I should be hired is because I am passionate about people. And at this stage in my life, I am passionate about this age group. I feel like I have so much to offer them, not only as a French teacher, but as a human who has been alive a long time and has a lot of experience. And I feel like I can add not only to their knowledge of French and communicating, but just as human beings to be decent, happy, working, productive adults, because they're on the threshold of adulthood. And I feel like I'm not stressed, you know, I really am not stressed, and I'm, I see what's in front of them, and I have so much to offer them holistically as a human being to prepare them for the 4 years they're going to be here, and then go out into the world to be a member of society. And not only will they be confident in their ability to understand and maybe communicate in a different language, but they will have confidence in themselves in the skills they learn in my classroom.
Because that's part of our vision here.
Yeah.
Is to graduate holistic students that are productive members of society. And being, you know, whether it be going out to work immediately or,
or
going to college.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's good. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I would like to know kind of what kind of support I can expect from my immediate supervisor, because, you know, I am a student, and I would like to improve, and so I want to know, you know, kind of where can I expect to get, not just support like I need a stapler or something, but what can I expect? I would like to improve on my skills. I'd like to improve on what I do in a positive manner. And what can I expect from my immediate supervisor as far as, I know I'm going to be observed and so forth, but I don't want to just be observed. I want someone to help me pinpoint maybe my weaknesses and be able to help me improve.
Okay, so as you said, you are going to get those observations, but those observations are not to, haha, I caught you. It's more of, okay, where can we improve?
Yeah.
I'm going to pinpoint a certain area, and you know, we'll discuss it after in an observation review. We'll look at it and we will work on it together. You know, whether it's me coaching you or going and researching some information, some strategies that you can use and implement them. And if I can't help you, we'll find one of our instructional coaches. We have a wonderful group of instructional coaches that are well versed in instructional strategy as well. If you want, we can go look at other teachers that have been successful in implementing certain strategies that you think you can use in class. So we'll do that. Professional development. If you need it, we got you.
What typically has been the problem in the past is administrators are not aware of LOTE requirements. They have no clue about our TEKS. And so I feel like we're just tucked away somewhere. So I would expect my administrator to be knowledgeable about my TEKS and how the district expectations and maybe district professional development. You know what I mean? Because I don't fit into the history department. I don't fit into the English department. I'm not a core class. But do I matter?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think so.
Everything that you're going to get, everything that I'm going to help you with is going to be focused on the supports and strategies you need in class as a local teacher, as a French teacher, as a Spanish teacher, as a world language teacher.
Right.
It's not going to be a general based, it's going to be more directed towards what we have in looking at in the foreign languages department.
Great.
So, any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I thank you for coming in, and we're going to review some of the information with the principals, the APs, and instructional coaches, and we should be hearing back from us within a week.
Okay.
So, cool.
Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.